That. You know, the thing is, that experience of, the joke's on them, they think I'm nothing, they think you're nothing, they think that you're someone they can laugh at. That ability to just let it go is the gift of living in integrity. Now, when I say living in integrity, I'm not necessarily talking about I can look at your tax returns. I won't understand them, so there's no point. Or I can hear the story of your life without flinching. Integrity, the way we do it, is what we mean by wholeness and perfection. Integrity means nothing is missing or trying to be hidden, and there's nothing extra. Everything that you are is accepted as part of the divine expression that you are. So the unfortunate tendency to bite your nails or pretend you have money because you have checks left. If I don't balance my checkbook, it means I'm not overdrawn. All of those things, all of those little F facts, and yes, I call them little F's, all of those things are part of who you are as a divine being. All of your humanity is part of you as a divine being. And we try and pretend like there's humanity, and then somewhere way up there, beyond my reach, is my divinity. Yes? What if they're twins separated at birth, and there is no evil twin? What if they're the same thing? And what if that was the master teacher Jesus' message? That your humanity, how you are in the world, as loving and accepting as you can be of yourself and your brothers and sisters, what if that is your divinity at work? What if there doesn't have to be separation? What if the separation part is a lie? What if you are not what you seem to be? There's a song we sing, the refrain is, we are how we treat each other and nothing more. And every single time we sing it, I mean to speak to someone and be like, that ain't the truth. That is just not so. That's one of those things that we're sure is true and ain't. We are how we treat each other and the potential that is so much bigger. We're a seed with a little shoot, and that one little shoot is how we treat each other. But who we are is still in the seed casing. There have been times in my life where who I seem to be and who I actually am as a divine being didn't appear to, you couldn't even play the six degrees of Kevin Bacon on these two different women, even though they live in the same body. You guys know the 6 degrees of separation game, right? And it got changed into the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon because he seems to be related to everything in Hollywood. I'm not very good at it because I've never been that cool as to know who was doing what. But there's a quotation that floats around the internet that says, everybody's a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it'll live its whole life believing it's stupid. Everyone's a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it'll live its whole life believing that it is stupid. Does anyone know who said that? I heard somebody's name. Einstein is attributed with it. And it just ain't so. It is yet another one of those things. Abraham Lincoln is attributed to having said, you can't believe everything you read on the internet. It actually, that fish and the fish in the tree thing surfaced in 2004 in a self-help book called The Rhythm of Life, Living Every Day with Passion and Purpose. But the quote seems to have come from an 1898 article using the pen name of Aesop Jr. ever found yourself using something that is about you, whether it's somebody else's opinion, some degree, some hairstyle, some bank balance, in order to try and tell people that that's what you are? Or maybe you look in the mirror and try and tell yourself, I'm important because people like me. I can't tell you how many times people used to come to me with, people are saying. Now, you guys know me, so you laugh, because you know what happened after that. Really? Who's saying it? If you come to me with an issue, it's enough that it's an issue for you. Think about that. What if you don't need anybody else in this entire place to agree with you? It's an issue for you, and that makes it worthy of speaking. So it doesn't matter what other people are saying. You stand in your majority of one, you and the divine within you. Come and speak your truth to me or anyone else. You speak it to anyone else, let them laugh. Let them. We know how the story ends, right? We just heard the song. So I don't generally deal well with people are saying, because the problem is that if people are saying something negative about you, the problem is not that they're saying it, is that you're believing it. And the divine with you is rising up and saying, no, that's not the truth, and that's what hurts. That pain is a signal that something has happened that is against your truth, is out of integrity with who you really are. We've had great people on this planet who have spoken that truth. Emerson once wrote, these roses under my window make no reference to former roses or to better ones. They are for what they are. They exist with God today. Have you ever seen a perfect rose? What if they're all perfect? What if, some people like the full-blown ones. Some people like the little buds. Some people actually like the kind that don't have a scent, because then our eyes don't swell up and we look scary. Some people like roses much better when they look like tulips, because they have no natural scent. We are who we are. And out of the integrity, out of that voice of spirit within us, we want the world to see who we are, which is why it feels icky when we try and pretend to be something we're not. Yes? We want to be known for what we are. Last month we had Black History Month. This month we have Women's History Month. Because people want to be seen. They'll be seen for who they are, but first they have to be seen, period. And so I talked about some of the great Black inventors. We've started having more and more movies and stories and shows about, and music about the experience of people that may or may not fit our personal experience. We want to be seen. I read an interesting study that says there's a group called Polygraph, which it looks at what's going on in theater, and especially in Hollywood, to see how people are being represented. Because that's how many of us get our self-identity. That's how we figure out who we're supposed to be, right? Especially little kids. How many little girls and little boys do you see dressed up as princesses? The little boys part is kind of a new thing for us, isn't it? That's okay. They're adorable. Whatever. According to a study conducted by Polygraph, 2,000 screenplays were looked over. And what they found was that 53 million words, or 39%, were spoken by men ages 42 to 65. 11 million, only 20%, were spoken by women. And of that, 20% of all dialogue was women between the ages of 22 and 31. I am horrified to find out that I am no longer relevant and have nothing to say. Because I gotta tell you, in my talks, I got 100% of the dialogue. which actually technically means that it can't be a dialogue if I'm the only one talking. Here's another part. Men get older, they get more dialogue. Older women get less dialogue. But as soon as both genders hit 65, they only account for 5% for men and 3% of total words. We silence the older generation. Man, are we paying for it? Yes? The older generation has already made all the interesting mistakes, has already done all the truly stupid stuff. I know I did my fair share. I'm hoping you guys pulled your weight. There is nothing more boring than the memoir of a perfect person. It's very short, because ain't nobody gonna believe it. That those numbers, they also applied to Disney, like the princesses and the Ariel and everybody else. Even the ones named for the females, like Pocahontas, most of the dialogue was male. That's a very subtle way of telling little girls to shut up. Your voice is not as important as the male voice. I don't know about the other ladies in this room, but I was taught early on to never interrupt. Isn't it true that it's kind of rude when somebody's talking over you? And yet, if I don't talk over certain people, I will never get a word in. And if I do, studies show that my best ideas will get attributed to whatever male was in the room. I have some people raising their eyes at me and say, no, it's true. The women of the former presidential administration used that to their advantage. What they would do in any meeting was, if a woman had an idea, another woman in the room would purposely refer to that idea and say her name. And then another woman would do it until it kind of got into the subconscious that this was a female idea or a female's idea. So having the information about this is what's going on allows us to work with it. It's not good or bad, it's just data. When our hearts hurt because someone has said something that is not true about us, that's good data to have. It's not comfortable, but it's important, right? Especially if the person saying it is ourselves. Yeah? No one here has ever lied to themselves about who they are, right? No one here has ever felt the embarrassment of not living up to their own standards and therefore feeling shame, not guilt. Guilt is where I did something wrong. Shame is where I am something wrong. We've all played this silly game, yes? So there is that part of us that says there's something wrong here. And you know, the beautiful thing about America right now is I'm hearing it more and more and more from people I never thought would have the emotional vulnerability to say things. I was listening to Representative Elijah Cummings from Maryland after his closing statement after some testimony was sent out over and over again. It has become viral. Because, and I never thought I'd hear a politician talk this way. He says, what's going on in the world right now hurts my heart. It hurts. I don't know what to tell my daughters. And he looked at the person testifying and said, yes, you have done something horrible, and yes, you're going to pay for it, but the problem is so are your kids. There are innocents being hurt by this. Now, what he was referring to me, was very interesting. Of course, I was watching Mr. Cohen's testimony and whatever. What mattered to me was hearing people that are usually taught not to express their feelings, expressing real feelings. You hear a lot of talk about toxic masculinity. I would suggest to you that the men who are willing to express their emotions, many of them are here, are the answer to that toxicity. They are the cure. I see a lot of guys getting elbowed right now. by women who look and other people who look very proud. It's not a like, hey, you should learn this elbow. You can tell there's a difference between those two types of elbows. And so Holmes also wrote in The Science of Mind, the only way to know God is to be like him. And while this may seem discouraging in our present state of evolution, we should remember that we have but started on an eternal ladder which ever spirals upward. We're just at the beginning of our evolution now. We've learned how to open cans, and cats are very grateful. But we're really just at the beginning of our evolution. And here's the beautiful part of that. Holmes also talked about how if you plant cauliflower, you will not get cantaloupe, even if the seeds were right next to each other when you bought them. The seed of who we are cannot be changed. The seed of who we are is divine. In the letter to the Galatians, Paul wrote, I live no longer, not I, but Christ lives in me. In our evolution, and this has happened in different cultures over time, over and over and over again, where the individual has evolved and recognized themselves as who and what they really are, what kind of seed had been planted in them. They had recognized themselves as Atman, as Christ, as Buddha, as a beautiful, magnificent soul. Now, if you've ever watched a seed on like the slow photography where they smush it together, I know there's a name for that, it's not slow-mo. Time lapse, thank you. It looks like the seed is being destroyed as something is growing out of it, doesn't it? If you watch time-lapse photography from like an ant's eye view of something coming out of the ground, it looks like Armageddon. It looks like the end of the world. And I sometimes used to wonder, does that hurt? Does that hurt when the seed casing is coming off the seed? It's being destroyed. Some part of itself is being ripped away. What if those things that are hurting our hearts now, those things that we are looking at as Armageddon, or Gotterdammerung if you want to be really cool. Okay, my version of cool, which is kind of geeky, but whatever. Yes, I know many names for the end of the world. Yay me! Trivial Pursuit's got nothing. We think it's the end of the world, and the master calls it a butterfly. The caterpillar thinks it's the end of the world, the master calls it a butterfly. But when you're in that in-between state, please don't tell me I'm a butterfly. Please don't try and pretend that this doesn't flip in fargid. Please don't tell me I'm not allowed to swear or throw things. I have thrown things in my life. In the last decade, I once got into my car and just screamed because I was told it would help. Nope. In the moment, yes, there was adrenaline that got the heck out of me. And then I just prayed there were no cops anywhere around. Who you really are, no matter what you have done, no matter where you have been, is still divine. There is nothing you can do about that. After I got my first master's degree, I went through kind of a rough time where, first of all, I couldn't get a job. Not one that actually paid money. Those are called internships. And in California, when you only have a master's degree and you're competing with PhD candidates or PhDs, your internship will be free, and you got to do about 3 years of them. Boy, did I need a sugar daddy at the time. Didn't work out. And so I went into a depression. I just spent thousands of dollars getting a master's degree in marriage and family therapy, and you know what I got? A divorce. So I am standing there in the back of the layaway at Kmart, wondering, how did I get here? And for the love of God, why? I didn't need to know the why right then. That was the seed casing breaking apart. It hurt. We'll probably have to bleep this out later, but it flippin' sucked. I couldn't even say it. There's parts of me that are still Catholic, and that's a good thing. There were horrible times. I'm willing to bet each of you looks back on some time in your life and winces. Oh, did I really say that? Oh, did I really marry them? Oh, God, I wore that, and there's a school picture to prove it. I did that to my hair. That's just a picture. It's a story about one of your expressions. Who you are, no matter what you have done and where you have been, is beloved of the beloved. Who you are, no matter what you have done, is still someone God actually likes. Divine Mother loves you, right here and right now. And all that stuff you're wincing on, she's the one holding on to the pictures, because she thinks it's cute. Oh, look what you went down that row. Oh, dear God. Sorry, this is your fault, because the eyeliner. I'm not the problem. Being who we are, being in our integrity is amazingly freeing. Because we stop thinking it's about, do you work at Kmart or are you a PhD candidate? It stops being about, do I look the way I think I was supposed to look? I have done almost nothing at this point my parents planned for me. I'm not married, I got no kids, I don't have the PhD, I didn't get it before I was 30. Whatevs. You know what I am? I'm a divine being with a voice. I am not politely silent. I am a magnificent soul encased in a human body that is too old for Hollywood, but who cares? That's why we have YouTube. The divine within us created other ways to speak. The divine within us is what notices when things go sideways. Sorry. I warned you, Stuart. That the divine within us is the one saying, that's not okay, that hurts, let's do better. We're better than whatever is going on. No matter how good the world is, we are better than that. Think about that. There is an infinite good that wants to express through you. So no matter how good things have gotten in your life, you should probably still take the 5 gifts class. The 5 gifts of an abundant life. That particular class being taught by one of our master teachers, and you can tell her I called her that, teaches you that there's more to abundance than money. Money's a very nice start. I highly recommend it. I think it was it Mae West that said, I've been rich and I've been poor, rich is better? There's so much more good for you to experience. I don't care how big your bank account is or is not in this moment. There is abundance for you. There is good for you in the world, and you ought to have it. Thank you, Emma Curtis Hopkins. The magnificence that you are will be expressed. You are going to break out of your tiny little seed pod. There's nothing you can do to stop that. It's going to happen. The divine has put you into rich soil and is watering you. You are going to burst forth. What's the old proverb about, they tried to bury us, they didn't know we were seeds? No matter who the they is, and even if it's yourself, you are now in this moment becoming the tree of life from whatever little seed you appear to be now. You are that tree. You are that perfection. You are that good. And so that we can take that in fully, we're going to go to prayer. Now, for those of you who don't know, I'm not just invading the personal space of the front row. What we're doing here and now is praying from an equal playing field. An equal praying field. How cool is that? The words are coming out of my mouth right now because I happen to have the microphone. No, you can't have it. Not right now. Maybe you can. But the words that I am speaking, please take for yourself. And if it helps you to go within by closing your eyes and really feeling this, then please do that. Because the truth is, there is an energy that exists in every space. In this universe or any other universe. That energy is what we call life, and some people call it God. Where there is matter, there is that energy. Where there is no matter, there is that energy. That energy simply is. It is the energy of love. It feels like peace. It feels like joy, and it feels like our very truest self, because it is. And so I speak a word of truth for every being today. For the people here in this room, for the people who will never hear my voice, for the people driving past getting healed of something and not sure what just happened. I celebrate the good that we are. I acknowledge it. I don't make it so. I don't earn it. I just am it. We are all it. The awesomeness of God. The power of the divine to create a life, a true life, a deep, rich, abundant life that is good and that shines the light that we truly are out into the world. And whether the world understands it or not, we get to live it. We get to be it. We get to share it with each other. That light is the truth of me. It is the truth of every being that has ever been. That light is the truth, and there is no need or desire to hide it anymore. I claim on behalf of all of us a willingness to live more fully in the light, to experience that warmth of love more deeply, all the way down to our roots. I call it all good and very good. I celebrate the way it nurtures the souls that already are, the way it reminds us and reflects to us our worthiness, our absolute, undeniable, unchanging worthiness of love. And resting in that, I just let it be, and together we affirm, and so it is. And at this time, I will ask you to stand and let that love wash over you, whether you believe you deserve it or not.
We let